everyone! Welcome to the Casual Couch.
Hello!
It's called the Casual Couch because I can't be bothered to put on makeup. And also I brought Adam, and he brought alcohol, and also he has pretzels. So we're very, very casual here, and I've been talking about doing this particular subject with Adam for a while. So we finally nailed down some free time together at the same time to film, and we've already filmed some read-along for the day. That responsibility feels like we've done it. So now we're here to talk about writing a healthy relationship, and we figured we would be good at talking about healthy relationships because we're in one.
And we think we are.
At least we think we are. Hey, as long as we think we are.
I don't think that counts though, because you've got one on the next page that's like I don't know, one of these two probably. It was like people in them think they're in a healthy relationship, but really they're not.
So, we're just going to kind of go down I've got my notes here, and we're just going to kind of go down my notes, and then I'll talk a little bit about it, he'll talk a little bit about it. I'm talking more about, like, the attraction / beginning of a relationship, because that's what most books tend to have, but he might also talk about, like, established relationships.
Because I would like to see more established, successful relationships, even if they're in background characters, because you rarely get to see that. Some of my first favorite books had that in it. I
write a lot of those, by the way, so keep your eye out for my writing, because like, I often have established couples in my stories, because I don't particularly like this beginning part.
It is funny, because so many people I know, especially married people, are like, I'm so glad I'm married. I never want to have to deal with dating again. And yet, like, the dating-y part of relationships is so popular in books and media.
Like that first part. So, let's talk about that healthy relationships, baby, and writing them. If you are interested in writing a healthy relationship, this is the video for you. These are in a bit of random order, but first I have Meeting, aka Insta-Love, which is ever popular. Now, Insta-Love I would qualify as not necessarily that crush, that attraction. Insta-Love is where, like, they've known each other for 2 weeks and they're already talking about marriage or dying for each other or stuff like that. A crush attraction can be a great, powerful feeling, but avoid characters making commitments right away. This includes proposing marriage after 2 weeks, sacrificing your life for the person, etc., etc. Pay attention to your timeline in your book, and if your characters after like a few days are already to that point, it feels longer because you've been writing this book forever, right? But it is not longer, and your reader is going to look at it and be like, it's been 2 days and they're already talking about like sacrificing their lives for each other. What?
Yeah, this is the classic Romeo and Juliet syndrome, and everyone espouses Romeo and Juliet as this great love story. They knew each other for 2 days. Immediately before meeting each other, Romeo was waxing poetical about how Rosalind could never be surpassed. And then Mercutio's like, or was it Benvolio?
I don't remember.
Anyways, whichever one of them was part of Romeo's family tree was like, you know what will get your mind off of this other chick? Finding a new hot chick you want to bone.
It was basically, it's the story, and Shakespeare knew this, it's the story of 2 kids who think with nothing but their genitals and then end up dead. Like, the lesson is they die! Most people, like, in real life, would be absolutely horrified and immediately break up with you if you propose marriage after 2 weeks.
After 2 weeks, right?
Most people, I'm sure somewhere out there, there's gonna be, like, somebody's gonna comment and be like, well, my spouse and I have been married for years and we proposed 2 days after meeting each other.
You and I forget how long we were, I don't even know if we were, like, really dating, but we'd hung out for a while, and I mentioned, like, I think I might be falling for you or something along those lines, and you got like really like creeped out just over that, and I almost broke up with us over that.
I remember like being horrified. Pump your brakes! The next one is, friendship does not automatically lead to romance. So often we see it. It's a lot in TV where eventually usually it's the guy and girl, because everything's very heterosexual on TV, that are friends, they just end up together eventually, because like, what else are they gonna do? They couldn't possibly stay friends for their whole lives and just happily be friends.
So friendship can lead to romance, and I think those are often the best, but so often, more often than not, your friendship is not going to lead to a romance, or if it does, it's not going to lead to a long-term, successful romance.
I think one of the things that I wanted to talk about with this, which I could have written down, was this notion that friendship does lead to romance, in fiction, because it's so prevalent, it can be damaging because then you get people who think that they're owed a romance if they're friends with you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a really, really harmful narrative. So I'm not saying never write friendship to love stories. I am saying just be careful with it. And remember to have characters who could potentially be romantic with each other, who aren't, who are just friends as well. So we have examples of that so that people don't get this notion that friendship just leads to romance.
Relationships are dynamic, and a friendship may lead to a romance and it may not. And a romantic relationship may lead to a platonic friendship, non-romantic relationship after a while. And so your characters, to be realistic, should experience some of these dynamic relationships.
Alright, next up, if you are looking to write a healthy relationship, like the biggest thing, and you've probably heard this, but that's because it's fucking true, thing that you need in a healthy relationship is communication. So that subplot you've got about miscommunication, throw it out the fucking window. A, everyone's tired of that subplot. So tired of it.
Mm-hmm.
And B, your people in a healthy relationship are the ones who communicate. Both of us happen to be people who just, like, don't believe in keeping, like, things to ourselves as far as, like, if I'm feeling something, I just tell him right away. If he's feeling something, he just tells me right away. We don't really keep secrets from each other at all. And I think that's a really good way to do it, like, that level of communication where, like, if something's bothering me, I'll just tell him instead of that whole, oh, he should figure it out. What? He's not a mind reader. And same with him. If something's bothering him, he tells me. Like, your significant other's not going to read your mind, and as romantic as it would be, it's not going to happen. And in your story, like I said, everyone is so done with that miscommunication plot. It's like the cheapest of the plots. So if you want to have that healthy relationship, characters have got to communicate.
Mm-hmm.
Next up, you cannot cure anyone's mental illness with your love.
That is a very, very unhealthy trope for you to use in your writing.
This one is one of the most damaging tropes, I feel like, because it does tell people that, like, your depression, your anxiety can be cured if only you will find a significant other. Now,
you don't need medication, you don't need therapy, you just need good
romantic
loving.
love. You just need romantic love and all your problems will be solved, which is completely untrue. Now, can having a romantic partner help you? Of course it can. Like, especially if they grow to have an understanding of your mental illness. But they probably also come with their own stuff, their own mental illnesses, and B, like, they can help. They cannot cure. They cannot fix. That has to be separate from your relationship. And I really hate in fiction where the character has an issue and, like, anxiety or something, and then they fall in love and the guy, like, breaks them out of their shell. Miracle! She will never be afraid again.
And this is my own personal little tirade. I'll try to keep it short. But over 20 veterans in America commit suicide every day, almost one every hour. And if you write this trope, you're basically telling all of those wives that, like, if you just loved your husband better, they wouldn't have killed themselves. And for all those vets out there that like are single, that are contemplating these things, that are like, if only you could find a woman or a spouse, significant other, you'd be cured, but sorry, you have to struggle with it on your own. Yeah.
It also makes you feel like crap because let's say you have depression and you get into a relationship and your depression doesn't go away. And then you think, well, am I doing this relationship wrong? It must be me. I must be a terrible person messing up this relationship. When in reality, the relationship was never going to cure your depression in the first place. We are talking a lot about just like relationships in general, but this is a really big one. If you're writing a healthy relationship, it will never cure someone's mental illness.
Mm-mm.
Never.
Nope.
All right, let's move along, shall we? This is getting real light and happy. We're gonna
Not quite casual
couch, serious couch. Now we're going to talk about control and insecurities. In a healthy relationship, your characters have to not hold each other back. Don't prevent, like, I'm just going to say, like, us, like, I wouldn't prevent him from having outside friends, and he wouldn't prevent me from having outside friends. That's a big red flag.
Mm-hmm.
Don't have them constantly checking each other's phones and emails. That's a big red flag. Just like all of that need for control and that insecurity, constantly worrying that anyone your partner talks to, they must be having an affair with. That's not healthy. Those are some more tropes that you should probably do away with, because that's not cute. That's not romantic. And I understand that it's a little bit of a, not a fetish, it's like a thing. What is it? What would it be?
Kink?
No, it's not sexual. It's just a trope that girls often like. It's a popular thing, and I can't say like, oh, you're bad for liking that trope or whatever, but if you are writing intentionally a healthy relationship, then you should leave that trope by the wayside.
Any abuse tactics are control tactics. It can be romantic to have a significant other sneak into your window, and I know someone who used to have a significant other that did that, and then they broke up, and they're like, fuck, he can get into my window.
He can get into my house. That's suddenly less sexy.
Yeah.
They know all my passwords, or, you know, like, you have to figure out, like, what do they know, what do they control, how far does their control go if you ever break up, and it's not sexy at all. So, like, you can feel free to like that trope, you can feel free to write that trope, but if you're writing a healthy relationship, like I said, ditch that trope. Insecurity, that kind of ties into the control thing. Like we were just saying, your significant other should be allowed to talk to other women, other men, other people. In a healthy relationship, you should not be constantly afraid that anybody your significant other talks to, they're going to leave you for. And because we're in a healthy relationship and communicating, you could be like, hey, I'm feeling a little insecure right now. Can we, like, go out to dinner or something? You know, and reestablish ourselves as a couple.
Or be like, hey, this individual that you are spending time with, I feel threatened by, or I feel insecure about. Can we talk about it? Can you talk to me about what your relationship with them is?
And like let's talk about strategies to make me feel more secure without saying I'm cutting you off from that friend and you can't be friends with them anymore. All right. Another thing you shouldn't have in your healthy relationship is abuse. Surprise, surprise. And again, it's a trope. And people like it, and that's fine. You can like whatever kind of cheese you like, but in your healthy relationship, there should be no abuse. And I'm not talking about kink, I'm not talking about BDSM, I'm talking about abuse, which includes violence, which includes rages, which includes verbal abuse, emotional abuse. None of it should be there in your healthy relationship.
And some of this comes back to emotional and verbal manipulation and control, and even as so much as like saying it's okay that you go out drinking with your friends tonight, and then being like personally upset about that. Like if a character is not okay with that, in a healthy relationship they should communicate, like, you know, like, I am not comfortable with you going out tonight. And sometimes people will be like, okay, I appreciate this, but I'm still going to go out, and I understand that you are upset about it, and we will do things to talk about it and address it in the morning. And I will make concessions to you, like, I'm going to go out drinking, and you really don't want me to, but I will keep myself to 2 drinks.
A healthy romantic relationship is really similar to any healthy relationship, romantic or not. And communication is a really big one. Another trope that you can avoid, which again, it is a trope that some people like, but we are trying to write a healthy relationship today. So, a romantic interest who mistreats everyone except for the main character, except for his love interest. And again, that can feel very sexy with the whole bad boy thing where he's an asshole to everyone, but, you know, you can tame his wounded heart or whatever. And that's a fine trope, you're allowed to enjoy that trope, but it doesn't belong in your healthy relationship. Because in real life, if somebody's abusive to everyone but you, they're probably going to become abusive to you. This is just a random thing because my notes are really random. I wrote down that I want to link you all, it'll be in the doobly-doo, to an episode of Stuff You Like about how aggression reads as passion, especially in movies and stuff, and how we kind of got started thinking that, like, anger means they're gonna fuck. I get what I mean here. the damaged one. So like you've got usually a guy in these stories, let's be real, who has been abused in his past. And that means he's allowed to be abusive to his love interest. Because later it will all be explained away how he was abused in his past. But in a healthy relationship, nope. That's another trope that I see a lot. And I'm a broken record. You're allowed to enjoy it, but in your healthy relationship, don't do it. Things that can help make your relationship healthy and not just what shouldn't you do. So characters who have a healthy relationship often have similar worldviews and also similar libidos. Not always, but often. Similar interests is another one. They don't have to have all the same interests. We don't have all the same interests, but we have enough similar that it bonds us.
There has to be something that brings them together and that they can positively share together. Even if there are things that divide them, there should be like a key aspect about them that builds a positive relationship.
Sex can't be the only thing, although it can be a contributing factor, but it cannot be the only thing.
Not for a long-term
healthy relationship.
Don't,
Don't, however, feel like you can't use the opposites attract trope. Because that can lead to a perfectly healthy relationship. As long as they have things that they like, they can be opposites and attract. Because, like we are, he's very outgoing, I'm very shy, and it works out. Because, like, I don't mind spending a quiet night at home, and, you know, if he wants to go out, that's fine. People in a healthy relationship can enjoy their time apart from each other as well. Like, that's allowed. People in a healthy relationship don't always have to be with each other. Now, you might be panicking. If I've got these characters in a healthy relationship, what the hell is going to be the conflict of my book? What kind of conflict can possibly face people in a healthy relationship? Well, I've got a couple. And Adam can add more. The big one is conflicts outside of their relationship. Make them face things together. Like, they don't have to have, like, big conflicts, big breakups and stuff within their relationship. It is really satisfying to watch a couple take on stuff together.
Like Pepper Potts and Tony Stark fighting baddies together in the end of Endgame.
Also, established couples and, like, healthier couples have arguments. They just figure out how to get through them, and they communicate through them, and they don't lead to these big blow-ups, these big misunderstandings, these constant breakups and get back togethers. So you can have that internal conflict, but in a healthy relationship, the characters should be able to get through that internal conflict without huge, dramatic blow-ups and stuff. And again, that might not seem as fun, but actually it can be pretty satisfying.
Wait a second. They're both different people. Could they both have different conflicts?
I think they could. They could have conflicts outside of their relationship with other people that aren't their spouse. And then they could talk about those conflicts with their spouse or whoever they're dating. It doesn't have to be spouse. And that could be a whole thing. Good idea, honey.
Maybe the one person just wants to vent at their significant other, so they have their venting and then go off and solve the problem by their own. And maybe one of them comes and is like, you know what? I need help with this problem. What is your advice? Can you help me? And then, if you want to, like, bring it back around to the relationship, maybe the advice was bad. Maybe it didn't work. And now they come back with a problem and they're upset at their significant other because your advice didn't work. And then they have to work that out.
That was a long-ass video all about writing healthy relationships. I hope some of you found it helpful. Most of you are probably like, that sounds really boring. I want to go back to writing my problematic yet popular relationships.
Okay, so one last closer. You don't have to write a 100% healthy relationship. But so often you see a romance and the romance concludes and you're supposed to imagine that these two people live happily ever after and have a successful relationship, and the whole time through they had a horrible relationship.
So you're like, how? How are they supposed to have a healthy relationship now?
So illustrate your relationship having troubles, and then illustrate them overcoming it together.
So yeah, I hope this video was helpful to at least some of you, if anyone watched this.
Only 30 minutes.
Hopefully I can get it under 20. That's going to be my goal. Alright, everyone. You know that if you liked what you saw here, there's more like it here on my channel, so go check that out. There's tons of binge-worthy content here. If you want to help me out, get better equipment, and you also want exclusive content that is not seen here on the regular channel. You can support me on Patreon. But I do post new videos here on Mondays and Fridays. All the links to my social media are where?
In the doobly-doo.
For ease of your clicking. And we will see you again next time with whatever it is we happen to be doing next time. Bye!
Bye.
Oh, sometimes we make me want to vomit. Alright everyone, it's that time again. It's time to thank my illustrious patrons of the month. Lennox, Amanda, Thelia, Jenny, Joseph, Kim, Lisa, Sabby Panda, Sam, and Sarah. Thank you all so much for your support. It means the world to me.